Hmm. Yes. Yes. You see how serious them things there? Are you hearing? Are you hearing how serious this thing is? Right? This is just the fallout. This is just the fallout. Just the fallout. Right? I don't know what's happening here, but I'm just getting some serious heebie-jeebies, heebie-jeebies, isn't it? Getting some serious things are going on here right now. And just hope I hope that will clear up as we come on, come on, keep going. Put some more wood on the fire. Wow, wow. Don't know what's going on here. It's just like it's just you don't want us to hear the news properly. Hold on, let me pause that a second. All right. The reason why the reason why I want to do this, wait a minute. The reason why I want to play that, right, because remember it's not everything is not is roses, but we must know what's going on, right? The fallout of this of the pandemic has been extremely impactful globally, right? And we're talking about not just the casualties on the floor, on the war field, not just the casualties of the time. There are so many millions of people who are affected after the fallout, right? The casualties of the war, the casualties of the war, declaration of war to everybody, declarations of war to all of us, declarations of war in every level of society, everywhere, 100%. We are under attack. We are under attack. I just want us to play that piece there, right? Just to show you what this society, what this world is really coming to. Yeah. I just wanted to play that one there. Okay. Well, I just wanted a couple of minutes of this one here as well, because I think it's important that we understand that they are stealthy attacking us. Right?
Country, we will have our moral, we will protect our children, and we are making this law. We are making this law for ourselves. We are making this law for our children. We are making this law for the children of our children. This country will stand firm. And once it passed, I can tell you, Madam Speaker, we are going to reinforce the law enforcement officers to make sure that homosexuals have no space in Uganda.
Hmm. Are there some nervous listeners into that? Hmm? Now, let me do the comparison here. This is the thing that struck me with this. Both of them, both issues are declarations of war. Declarations of war. In other words, how do we exterminate a society? How do we exterminate a life? Right? How do we exterminate the morals, the principles of a people? How do we eliminate, eradicate everybody, everybody who thinks like that. Tactics that was used in the globalization and enslavement of many, many people of this planet. Tactics that were used to disenfranchise many, many people around the world. They are doing this, they are using it, they are making the enemy, or making an enemy of those who are pro-life. So in other words, all you want is death, extermination, death. In that way there. In other words, you're saying that your lineage will die and leave with you. And selfishly, that is what you see that is right. So you want to impose that onto others. You want to impose that thinking and feeling onto others. What type of foolishness is that? What type of foolishness is that? Eh? I don't know. For me, it's not right. Grand Risings, my sister. Grand Risings. I don't hear a word you're saying.
Grand Rising.
There you
my
go.
brother.
Yeah. I just had to add a little blast off right this morning because, one of the things that we don't do sometimes, right? We see something that has impacted on us, like for instance, doing the more. Let's see what's here around in the morning, for instance, irrespective of what others I've looked at over the period of the last few days. And if there's something that's in your face, right, like that, obviously, I've been able to filter out the external news reports or anything like that. So I don't even know what they must say upon television or anything like this. But this is something that we are sharing amongst ourselves as the Black community, right?
Mm-hmm.
In our social groups.
Yeah.
Right? In other words, for me, right? Some of us we share things, right? That is not commenting on. They said, "Oh, I look at this, hear this." But the fact is that you're not sharing with us how it's impacting you. So put a comment then on there to say how these things are these things are affecting you. Right? So let me just finish off this little segment here, right? Both political houses, I'm going to call them the political houses or chambers, right? One, there was about 10. This is the UK chambers. There was about 10 people in there talking about a global issue, right, that is impacted. Basically, everybody it has impacted around the world, one way or another, right? Whether you believe it is what it is. It is what it is. And there's 12. I counted 12 members of the parliament in that chamber there, right? Those are the ones who were sitting, and apart from the administration, right? About 12 members that were sitting in the chamber, right? Whether it probably was one of these things that was done after nation to want to pass a lot of their policies through at that time, because they can pass a lot of policies through action, right? But it's now compared to the attack on the African Ugandans, right? So they passed the law, right? And there was standing room only. In other words, it was listened to by the entire house, as far as I saw, and probably additional, right? That was there. I just listened to, right? And it was also presented by the Prime Minister at the time as well, right? So therefore, declarations, right? It's a sexual revolution or devolution because of the results of what could transpire from that type of taking on that type of act, right? But or is it an actual declaration on society in general? Is it declaration of war on society in general, right? And this is from me, right? As far as we're concerned, that it is an extremely selfish, self-centered act to want to impose that thought onto everyone and expect them to accept that type of behavior as a norm, right? They've been asking and pushing that it is an accepted norm. When we look at the media here in the UK, I would say 99% of the programs has some form of sexual connotations and it would allude towards that because there's many an actor who's been asked to incorporate that into their characterization of their person that they're playing, mainly like on these we call them soap opera, innit? The soap operas, well, I call it soap opera, the programs that they've been popular programs, what they're showing, like for like even the young people, right? And like the long-standing Coronation Street and all them type of things there. They've incorporated it in one way or another into those programs, right? And yet they want us to accept it as the norm. They want us to accept it as the norm. But obviously, if you're strong enough and you're mindful enough, then you would be strong enough to just get up, or not even get up. I say get up.
That was back in the day, getting up.
Yeah, that's the original remote control.
Yeah.
You could just press your button, change the channel, or even take the action of not watching and avoiding that type of poisonous imprint into your mind, because remember, it's a program. It's a program, so therefore you are programming yourself, right? Yeah, you're programming and conditioning yourself, and they are conditioning you to accept them type of behavior. That's all, right? Yeah, they're blatantly showing their lifestyle in preference to the heterosexual lifestyle that most of us adhere to, most of the planet adhere to, right? But hey, who are we? Who are we? In their eyes, who are we? Anyhow, thank you for allowing me to have my rant this morning.
No problem, Brother Aston. It's there are times when you've just got to get it off your chest. And like you said, we often share clips and videos and information, and sometimes it's useful just to have some context as to why is that piece grabbed you more than any other thing that has passed you. and recognizing that all of us are in more than one group, one social group. And in that, we're going to get messages left, right, and center. We're going to see other messages as we go throughout our day. So the question is, why do you share one more than the other? So I love the question behind the rant, if that's the way to put it. So for me, I've seen, again, like you, images that have and things that have crossed my path, but we've got time to talk about that.
And yeah, so what's on your mind this morning, bro, sister? And oh, sorry, I have to apologize because the delayed start was partly my fault as well. So no, it was my fault, not yours, because you were the one who alerted me to my timing.
You know, one of my sayings is everything's perfect and everything's improving. So we need to have grace on one another. We need to be respectful and mindful of time, but it's still happening. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen at the designated time, but it happened 1 minute later. So we're still blessed to be here. And it's just recognizing, that blessing and those blessings. So one of the things that are on my mind, I was listening to conversation yesterday on the radio as I was in the kitchen baking and just doing my bits and pieces for the Sunday morning food or Sunday day food. And one of the things that came across one of the things I was listening to was from an entertainment point of view. And it was the curtain closes for the film commissioner, Rennie Robinson. So she's a film commissioner in Jamaica. She's had a long and established career. She'd worked, and the interview on the radio spoke about her working over 20 years in different countries, building up their film industry before they created a commissioner in Jamaica. And she's held that role for a number of years. And at the end of this month, she's about to close that proverbial curtain. And one of the things that she said that struck me was that thing regarding brand Jamaica. So I know, and when they said that, I thought to myself, that is actually an interesting concept. And it's something which, in terms of the film industry, when she took over, there was only 5 million that was brought into the economy and the Jamaican economy. And that's 5 million US. And that has increased to more than 18 million between 2015 and 2019. And that figure has increased. I know I'm looking at the paper because she was also headlined in the paper. So they've spoken about an extra, that 15 million had gone up, or 18 million had gone up. And it's movies such as Idris Elba, his direction debut. It's movies such as the Marvel, Luke Cage. It's movies such as James Bond. So in terms of the movie industry, and often when they talk about the movie, let me just rephrase that. In the past, when I'd heard them talking about the movie industry, they often talk about countries such as New Zealand and established countries whereby they go and they do the films. And I'd never actually done that connection, that they actually do a lot of filming in Jamaica. A lot of the movies, whether they be the established, your James Bond, or your new kids on the block in terms of directors, Idris Elba, coming over to Jamaica to do their filming. So they were saying that in terms of the local filming, they can't put a price on it because that's not recorded. But the international filming, they can record it, and there's a lot of money that's coming into the economy as a result of that. And one of the things that she mentioned was that word brand Jamaica. And anywhere you go, there is just so much in terms of Jamaica that's not utilized or underutilized, or you only hear about the negative.
Mhm.
So there was a dispute in Negril over the last 48 hours that involved one of the patrons at a wedding reception dying because of the dispute. So they speak about that.
Dag.
But it's that brand Jamaica that I want to highlight, and the positives that come out of Jamaica that they don't often talk about.
Mm.
But if things had been done differently, now we can't look back at the past and say, if I coulda, woulda, shoulda. But things have been done differently. There's money in them there Jamaican hills from the herbs and the plants. Something that they said, again, when we think about brand Jamaica, there was a coffee celebration
Mhm.
in terms of, they say there's 3 things that are popular across the world. Coffee's one, water's one, and there's another thing. And all 3 things they were saying
Cotton.
are
Cotton.
in Jamaica.
Apparently, cotton is Jamaican cotton is the highest quality cotton in the world as well.
Again, that's what I'm saying, that it's the brand Jamaica. And are we making the most of it? Are we allowed? Let me rephrase that. Are we allowed to make the most of it? Because more often than not, they talk about the negative side, but there are positive sides. And just even thinking, just jumping from the recording of what's the film industry, and then the jobs that are given to the locals in relation to the job market, in relation to the opportunities, in relation to those in the creative space in Jamaica being able to be offered jobs on these large sets as they come through Jamaica, film in Jamaica, and then move off again to wherever it is that they're going. But it's just that brand Jamaica, and just rising up brand Jamaica in terms of the positive things that have come out and the things that will continue to come out of Jamaica on a positive note that brings money into Jamaica, brings an element of disciplines into Jamaica, and allows Jamaica to export the beauty that it has at its fingertips. Whether or not Jamaicans are making the most of it in terms of the government of the day, that's another conversation. But it's just beautiful to know that there is money coming in that can help industries, that can support families, that can give an opportunity. So I'd like to just pick up brand Jamaica from the film point of view, but also from the coffee point of view. And the thing then that I saw in the paper, and I never knew that, hey, I don't do coffee. For me, coffee's, I can leave that one quite easily, whether or not it's in an ice cream or whether or not it comes straight out of a cup. I can quite happily leave it, or in a cake, I can leave it. But now you can get coffee, and I saw them advertising it, coffee cereal. They're just taking it to another level. You're thinking cornflakes or one of the other cereals, but now they've got coffee. Yeah. But again, it shows you the versatility of the brand and the opportunities that are out there. And like I said, brand Jamaica. Let's raise up brand Jamaica. Let's promote brand Jamaica, the positive things from brand Jamaica. And coffee, they were saying there were a couple of countries who know about Jamaica coffee, but there's a lot more. I know when in the past, when I've traveled to Jamaica and I've gone back to the UK, I've always brought a Blue Mountain coffee because it is, and it's reportedly the best, or thereabouts, 1, 2, or 3 in the world.
That's it. That's it. The thing, like even for me, I think I bought one at the airport. I
Mm.
bought a Blue Mountain coffee at the airport, and it sat there for a while at home and everything. And I thought, let me just have some of this thing here, right?
Mm.
Um, let's say it's an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste, right? It's
Mm.
like most of those things there. Like they have this one there where these monkeys have basically,
Food.
let's say, yeah, they poo the seeds out and then they take the
Mm.
seeds and whatever, right?
Mm.
And they regard that as one of the most expensive coffees in the world,
Mm.
right?
Mm. Mm.
And I think to myself, something. The whole planet, right, is here to serve us. But there's
Mm.
certain things, right, that you're only supposed to use at certain times. Certain things you're supposed to stay away from, you know. But why? I tell you, us as humans, right?
Mm.
We are human garbage eaters, man. I'm telling you
Mm.
now, we're human
Mm.
garbage eaters, because like even a few months ago, right? Going through my cleansing period, one of my cleansing periods, and your thoughts are to reassess like your eating habits and what you're
Mm.
eating. And I was just thinking, boy, look at this now. We are there. We're tending to all these animals, right? That we actually eat. We eat these animals,
Mm.
and so we're eating all these animals, right? And the
Mm.
animals, most animals are extremely sensitive to either smell, touch, vibration, or whatever,
Mm.
right? So can you imagine now you're a chicken farmer, right? And you've eaten chicken that day or whatever, or you eat it on the regular. Can you imagine
Mm.
smelling the dead flesh of your brother and sister on this thing here, and then this person's gonna come to feed you?
Mm.
And I'm thinking,
Mm.
wow, we are absolutely barbaric to our planetary inhabitants, like, right? This is why you find some people, right, animals are just calm around them.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
And there's others that they would run from, you know. No, it's
Mm.
and
Mm.
like it's just one of those things that just crossed my mind, like, I'm just thinking, wow, you get somebody like who's a vegetarian, obviously they're not looking to do any harm or anything to a creature because they don't eat that flesh or whatever,
Mm. Mm.
right? But it's just one of those things that just flutter through my mind. That's how my mind works sometimes.
Mm.
So
Mm.
so, so don't get me wrong. I do like a steak and everything, but remember, even a cow, that's a hybrid animal in itself anyway, right?
Mm.
Because like if you look at as I gave an example the other day, if you look at a wild bison or buffalo, you know, a a wild one that is in the natural nature, right? Like a lion, for instance. If you get a lion falls in natural nature, right, compared to the zoo domesticated, let's play with this ball type of thing, right? It's two different creatures, two different creatures. And of course, if you're a person who appreciates that, then right? Then you would know. Then again, in many cases,
Mm.
so we
Mm.
domesticated to live within a society or out of our natural desired environment. Many of us will never even experience that, right?
Mm.
What crosses my mind at the moment is that cartoon film, Madagascar, yeah,
Okay.
when they were like circus animals and everything, and then all of a sudden they were put into the the wilds, or they run into the wilds, and then their natural instincts came into play, and they thought, "Wow, what's going on here?" You know. But that's how it go. That's how it go. You know.
But those are, coffee's an acquired taste. It's not something that I drink. My mother will make dandelion coffee, which is good for you, because it doesn't have. It's not as bitter as the coffee. So if I'm going to drink coffee, that's possibly as close as I'm going to get to coffee.
Yeah.
But it is an acquired taste.
For
and
a long,
then
for a long while, we couldn't get that in England, innit?
Sorry?
I said for a very long while we couldn't get that in England.
No. Unless, well, yes, it was. Well, I suppose in some senses part of it is we don't know what we don't know, and the way food is working now, and some of the foods they say are superfoods, or this food or that food. So the ones that they've recognized as super, quote unquote, those ones are now the ability to purchase it without having to jump through 6 million hoops have become easier with the online stores and or the health stores, whether they be online or in person, that you can get them from. But the other thing that I was listening to on the radio, and I only caught a bit of it, and it was around the foods. And again, if you're thinking brand Jamaica, and we're thinking about the herbs and the plants, and the herbs and the plants, which are more often than not the ones that they use for the high end, medium range end, and the lower range end. So much of them, actually, the plants grow in Jamaica. And it's that opportunity. Do we promote it? And is any of that money coming back into the economy? So that means we can serve the people. Because if the money comes back in the economy and it's spent right, it can support the people, whether or not it be in terms of the healthcare, whether it be in education, whatever the case may be. So those are a couple of things that came to mind. There was a few others that have come to my mind when I was looking in the paper yesterday, or over the weekend. But that was the two that came to mind that I'll start with at the moment.
That's good. One of the things that I was very, very impressed with was a program yesterday, hosted by Prophet Kwaku, right, Bonsu Kwaku. And he was highlighting the tournament, and he had two guests in the studio of chess tournament. Sorry, chess tournament. I just realized I just said tournament. Chess tournament, right? And he had two guests in the studio, and actually they were unfamiliar with Galaxy as a medium in that way. So therefore they came in and they were talking about how they learned to play chess, what they had the benefits of learning, the benefits of actually learning chess, and how they incorporate it in the principles of their life, right? One of the things that I've been aware of, that there has been many teachings over the years of principles in line with the playing of chess. You know, obviously a game that was developed from Africa, again, right? Developed from Africa. And obviously, you know, there's always a story or something what you can relate to within the game of chess, right? And it was very interesting just to hear their perspective, because the two guests were, I got the impression they were very, very young, you know, around about 8. If I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, listeners. Round about 8, and yeah, round about 8, age 8 or something, and they were playing at a good level, because like they were the elder one of them, the young man, he was playing 2 boards at the same time, or he's been able to play 2 boards at the same time, and that's, in my opinion, what a beautiful level to be at that age. And then how can you enhance that ability to incorporate that in other forms of teaching and development, and what level could he be operating at in other fields of his life experience, which is looking forward to now, right? How far can he go, because remember, he's at that impressionable age, and if he maintains that momentum through through his childhood into his adolescent, and put that into his growth and development, right? How far would that young man be? And well, both of them, brother and sister, and I think, wow, they've got a fantastic start in their life, fantastic start. I know, and what comes to mind is that over the last 7 days, I know that there was an article in one of the papers there in the Caribbean, the Jamaica paper, that they were looking to see how they can incorporate the playing of chess into all the schools, or put it into the curriculum.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I'm thinking, how are they going to incorporate that into the curriculum? But it's one of those things is that, if you put it in there, young people will do it, because like if they said, right, we're gonna have a lesson on social media, I'm sure everybody will find a mobile phone from somewhere. You understand? They will all have one.
They've all got one, yeah.
So if you want to put in like chess, I'm sure that there'll be chess boards right across the world. That would be the, even if they make it up themselves.
And they're creative enough that they will do just that.
Exactly.
Bit of paint and a board, and they will do just that. Yeah, because there was an article last week about the chess and incorporating it into the schools. So yeah, I saw that article, but my understanding was it was more
right. There you go.
Children who were I'm just thinking about the
autistic
language to use, but it wasn't going to be across the mainstream schools. It was just for some schools where children were, that us to use the word special schools. It was only going to be in those schools or that age group. It wasn't going to be across the board. But there is a benefit, and I think that there's a benefit across the board because of the thinking and the reasoning. And the opposite to that, again, they were talking on the radio about the Prime Minister lauding a new initiative for young people who have gone off the tracks to be put in institution. I'll use the word institution, where they can effectively get themselves back in the groove. But the challenge is that institution would only be available for like 6 weeks. So it sounds good on paper. It almost sounds good when it comes out of your mouth, but the minute it lands, you think, whoa, there's a problem with this analogy. So if these young people are off the tracks and they're age 18, and you're only going to look after them for 6 weeks.
Right.
To put them, you see the problem. You could use
consistency and regularities is a must when you're dealing with something like this. Yeah.
And at 6, yeah.
You understand? Because like all you're doing is ticking a box as such when you do something like that, right? If you're not implementing and following up and incorporating that in their formal like education, right? Then obviously, there is an issue there. Right? Is it really worth you actually incorporating those type of things in there?
And that's the question. There's money going to be spent on something which, to be fair, I would question the ability for that money to make the impact that he's claiming or wanting in any respect. Because you're taking children or young people who are troubled, who are traumatized, who may cause trauma to others for whatever reason. And if you're only going to sit with them for 6 weeks,
and yeah, lines are open 0203-289-6504 if you wish to come in with any form of conversation this morning. Remember, it's a community station. So what's on your mind, my people? All right, let's have a little interlude. Right? And we'll be right back right after this.
My life, my love story, love is so wonderful to me. Walking down the street of life with my empress hand in my eyes. Doing things we wanna do, going places we've never been before. Oh yes, I never thought that I would find someone with love so pure and true. I didn't have to with such love and devotion, true love and compassion, they're inseparable. Love. I say I know that love is real. I say I know the way I feel. Oh my God, she's my motivator. I appreciate love and my mood. Oh yes, and she surely inspire, striving to improve. I say I know that love is real. Oh yeah, I say I know the way I feel. But it needs my imagination to see such love and devotion, each in every situation. What a perfect combination. Love with a true intention, with a positive sense of direction, rising to a higher dimension, forever growing strong. I say I know that love is real. I'm sure that I know that love is real. No, no. Going strong. Love forever going on and on and on and on. I know that love is real.
All right, Luciano, we get the message. We get the message. We get the message that your love is real. Go on. I tell you, what a way, what a way, what a way that man can come with some lyrics. Yeah, blessed. London born, you know, London born.
Okay.
Yeah,
I hadn't realized that.
Yeah, you just go over there and tear up the place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, you're right. You know, a beautiful talent, you know.
Mm.
Oh, who's that? Who's coming in with your chip? Not yet. That's another tune I want to play to this morning. But we'll come to that. Right. Anything else, my sis, what you'd like to share with us?
So one of the things which, again, we talk about global warming across the in different parts, different places, and there's a seaweed. And let me just make sure I get the name of the seaweed. But effectively, there is, and the way I was reading it, gives the impression that there is there was a space in terms of a seabelt that's heading for the Atlantic beaches. So they talk about the ones in America, but they also speak about the beaches, Mexico, and beaches in the Caribbean, which potentially may mean beaches in Jamaica. And it's that seaweed that has a pungent smell to it. But because of the way that the global warming's working and the way that it's traveling, it's going to take the hoteliers for the hoteliers, in theory, they're going to be, their digger trucks are going to be up and down the beach, clearing those beaches to ensure that they've got those perfectly beautiful beaches. But for the local beaches, that's my question. What will happen on those beaches if it lands there? Because no one takes responsibility or very few people take the responsibility to clear up after themselves. And it's that type of seaweed with the sunshine that we get in Jamaica. When I was in Mexico last year, this time-ish, they were going up and down the beach at 7 o'clock in the morning in order to clear it. And you thought to yourself, okay, the next day when you come down, it's going to be clear. The next day you come down, it looked even worse than it did the day before. And then the sea, you couldn't go into the sea. You'd have to be a good swimmer to go out, far, in order to dip your feet in and feel comfortable with doing that because of the seaweed. And they say it's the same seaweed this year that's traveling earlier. So when I was in Mexico last year, it was in July, but it's traveling earlier. So the indication is it's going to be at springtime this season, whereby it's going to start hitting the shores of some Atlantic beaches. I just pray that it avoids Jamaica. And with the current and the wind that we have here in this beautiful island and in the Caribbean islands, that it's just managed to avoid the islands because it cost a lot in order to remove that seaweed. And it doesn't appear to have any medicinal properties that they're found of yet to harvest it. So it is a case of clearing it. And then where do you dump it? Seaweed's a delicacy in some parts of the world. So we know that they harvest some seaweed. And I've tasted seaweed and it's tasted nice and sweet.
All you have to do is drag it back to its environment, back out into the sea. That's all you have to do. You don't have to dump it in land or anything like that. simple as that.
But
Right.
yeah,
Just harvest it and put it back into the sea where it come from. As simple as that, man.
it's just
Make it-
so
to
much
make
of it.
nothing. Yeah, no.
No, it's
You know what? One of the things, right? Because we was on lockdown and everything else, right? Basically, the world paused for what's it? A year and a half.
year and a half, at least 18 months.
Yeah, right. And so, therefore, all the activities that was going on, where humans who poisoned the environment, right?
Mm.
This is probably the first time in a long time that they've had a break, right?
True.
Right.
True.
No hunting, no fish, not as fishing
Minimal.
as what it was before or anything like this. So they've had an actual season of so this is what it's like to actually live without being in fear, you know. Understand? And all of a sudden, it's like the planet is just turning around and saying, you know something, why we better take advantage of this rock stone, yes sir. You understand? So therefore they're making their strategic move on their chessboard game. You see it as seaweed. You see it as seaweed. They're coming to take over. They're coming to take over. Can you imagine though, if it was just left, if it was left to its own natural way of growing and being, right? What really would be the impact of it? What really would be the impact? Because we don't, as you're saying, that there's no, they look at it and they're saying that there's no medicinal or nutritional value of this thing. But let me tell you a little fact. Photosynthesis, right? Oxygen. Where do you think that most of the oxygen actually comes from?
That's going to be plant life.
It's a plant life.
That's plant life.
You know where and it's a good percentage, you know. But I think it's about 80% of our oxygen through the process of photosynthesis comes from the sea.
So it has a purpose.
It has a purpose. You understand? Right? Just because they're cutting down the trees and everything on the land, right? That is only one aspect of it. But the actual majority of the photosynthesis and the oxygen that is made, right, is from the actual sea itself. So you walking on white sandy beaches and nothing to do with the survival of the planet. Not a global warming business at all. No, the thing, man. Know it. It's your breath that stinks. It's not that stinks. You understand? So,
Okay, point taken. No, point taken, because everything has a purpose, and if we don't, sometimes as humans we think to ourselves, unless we can join the dots because we're the intelligent ones, quote unquote, then everything else is
good
inferior.
So far.
Well, that's it. What we've done so far, we've made there's an ear, and it starts with a P, pig's ear of some of the stuff, a lot of the things that we've done and spaces that we've been in. And the planet is just effectively saying, like you say, 18 months, it was given a break. It was that shutdown, lockdown, whatever, enforced house arrest allowed the planet to some degree to breathe. And that's actually the more positive way of looking at it, rather than the frustration of saying, oh, there's going to be some seaweed. It is pungent, it does look unpleasant, but there's a lot of things that we're doing to that said sea that's just as pungent and just as unpleasant.
Exactly. When we're dumping our waste and oils and everything, and our chemicals and everything into the actual environment, what do you expect that environment to going to do? They're probably just delivering back your rubbish.
Yeah, true. I can. Yep. If we talk about that circle of life, it's recreating something which. And I think to myself, and again, I was either reading or listening, and they were talking about plastics that I know in a lot of the countries they're saying single-use plastics need to be banned. Blah blah blah. Jamaica are doing their bits in terms of single-use plastics.
They took a stance on styrofoam containers and things like that. They did that quite a while ago now.
They did, but you wouldn't notice. To be fair, you wouldn't necessarily notice. And the reason why I say you wouldn't notice is because, and even when I went yesterday walking just for a quick, rather than a long, slow, silent walk, for just a quick walk, and I was thinking to myself, how much food shops are there just in that area? And I'm thinking to myself, between the food in the UK, for me, when I'm going for a walk, a lot of what I see are the small enterprises, the barber shops, the nail shops, the hair shops. Those are the small enterprises in terms of people of color operating. But here in Jamaica, it's food. Every corner you go to, there's a food shop. There's a church as well on the other side, but there's a food shop. And it's that thought process. Every other person, or there's so many people that are walking with the box with food. And I'm thinking, don't you guys cook in your yard? And the reason I say that is because what are you then going to do with the container? That container is going to end up in landfill if it's lucky. But as I'm walking down the beach, and they were talking about one of the areas where they were saying that the drain gets blocked so frequently. But one of the problems is that people just fling down the rubbish, the plastic bottles in the storm drains. So that plastic bottle and the plastic carton, so there is no longer a straw. But there may as well be a straw added to that plastic mix. There may as well be a plastic bag added to that plastic mix. Because all of that's going into the sea, assuming it gets out to the sea. But a lot of it, and I was sitting down the other day, and the guy was sitting down there in Yammy's Food, and he wasn't polystyrene. Yes, it was a drink that he then tossed over his shoulder, landed in the sea, plop. And it was tin foil, threw over his shoulder, landed in the sea, plop. And I'm thinking to myself, that's sacrilege. But that's what we do as humans, the intelligent ones, allegedly, quote unquote. Our waste becomes somebody else's problem, the environment's problem. Like I said, that's sacrilege.
Oh yeah.
But that was just a general reminder. So I've got off my soapbox. I've been, to be fair, on it for the last half hour. But I've got off my soapbox now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, sir?
Yeah.
Let me give you this one, yes, sir.
No dirty of Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean. Keep from the peaks to the beach. No dirty of Jamaica, please don't do it.
Dash no paper, no dash no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick, and if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty of Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty of Jamaica, no dirty of Jamaica, no dirty of Jamaica, no dirty of Jamaica.
Amen to that one, and that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. And it is frustrating because everything else strives for it, but we're so careless as human beings. We are so careless.
I know they have a drive every now and then to clean up the beach and all them things there, like on a Labor Day or something like this. Yeah.
Yeah, but it does. If that's once a day, once a year, the other 360 odd days, or every weekend when they go down and they have a domino tournament or just chill out at the beach, and everyone walks with the only thing they walk away with is their towel. Now I know for a fact that a number of them did eat when they were down there. What did they do with the rubbish?
They bury it in the sand.
Well, and
I let the crocodile them come and get it.
well, they were talking about there's a lot of bushfires because it's been that dry and that parched.
Wow.
But then they were talking about the some farmers, and sometimes in the UK you think to yourself, okay, if you're going to burn anything, you always wait until the 5th of November, right? Because that's the official day of burning. So you'll put everything together and you may go into the backyard and there isn't anything such as you're not lighting any fireworks, but you just want to get a whole lot of stuff burnt. But in Jamaica, they will use the burning in order to clear the land because it's quicker. There's possibly some benefits for it, but it's potentially quicker. But then in doing that, or they'll put their rubbish out and they'll just burn it. But then no one's watching what's happening. And like I said, because it's drier now, that little fire is sparking and taking out larger areas of land. And then the fire trucks are hurtling up all down the road in order to put out these fires. And you think to yourself, just be careful, be mindful. And there's no point putting plastic on the fire because it's not going to burn. They insist on putting the plastic bottles on the fire. Everything. Yeah, they just scrape it up and put everything on there, and it's not going to burn. And you think, hang on a minute, let's lose a little bit of common sense, because every now and again you get that pungent smell. So every time you feel that, you smell that pungent smell, you think they've put something else on the fire that shouldn't be there.
Like a tire.
Well, you think to yourself, no, why? That song was very apt. Very.
Because I know every now and then the Jamaica has that. They have their way of how they incorporate their teachings and everything over there in Jamaica, and the majority of people still listen to the radio. It's a very popular medium out there. Even on the televisions, they have their adverts and everything like that. And they do make an effort. They do make an effort, one way or another. And I know that they have their drives as well to bring awareness of health and safety. Right? We can sit here and talk about how we should be doing things, right? But they're stepping up in the. You can learn. You could learn quite a way, because obviously they're putting it out, and the government out there does make the attempt to bring awareness of national unification on taking care of your health, for instance, trying to build a community, right? Or even though there are sporadic like murders and everything, but it's not like the whole place, the whole island, and everybody is involved in it. It's just just like any other society. It's just a few individuals, you know. Obviously, if you're outside of there, you're listening to the media, you would think that the whole island is full of gangsters and everything.
Mm-hmm.
No, so come on now.
No. And I suppose it's similar in terms of living and growing up in London. And I know back in the day, growing up in Brixton, it was a case of what's said about Brixton and the lifestyle of Brixton. We ended up, a number of families either wouldn't talk about it. Where did you come from? I come from St. Wreatham. It sounds a lot better than saying I come from Brixton. And you use, or I come from Clapham. So there's some areas you say quite happily, yeah, I did come from, but now the houses and the way of life around those side of town is just completely different from when I grew up.
Exactly.
And it's what do we treasure? What do we want to make the most of? What do we want to big up? And there are areas of Jamaica that we want to big up. We should be bigging up. And it's not just about the crime and the violence.
It's true. Because there's so much more to the program, and this is what this program, or what I would like to direct this program, is to bring the positivity, right? As you know, I do try to avoid deliberately negativity aspects of life, because mainly it doesn't serve me or as I see the development of our community in that general aspect. You know? We've got 10 minutes. We've got 10 minutes more at the moment, right? Actually, no, we've got 15 minutes more. What's going on here?
15.
No, 15. Yeah, 15 minutes. They put the wrong time on the clock.
So you mentioned clock, and I recognise that clocks went forward in the UK. They'd done that previously in the US. But it means that the clock that's in the studio is not a digital clock? It's the good old-fashioned wind up
analog clock.
Analog clock, yes. And it reminds me, and as it's as beautiful as it is, you can always see back in the day you'd have to go around the whole house changing clocks, in the car changing clocks. Whereas now, with wherever the season changes, your mobile devices, your digital devices would just change automatically. I don't know whether or not it's a good thing or bad thing, but it just as a reminder in terms of back in the day, certain things and certain way that it just seemed normal. Yeah. You'd go around literally the house just changing every single clock, from the video, the CD player. You'd go in the car and you'd have to do the same thing. The watch on your wrist, you'd have to change it and think, okay, what time is it? So yeah, we have moved on.
Yeah, man. Let's say from the time when we used to watch with Star Trek, to where we are now. The only thing that we haven't got is a particular replicator. We're eating the synthetic foods, but we haven't got the replicator yet. Not yet. That's going to come. To be fair, most of the other bits have come because they used to talk through a walkie-talkie, and that used to come. They could travel in vehicles whereby you didn't have to drive yourself. Yeah, beam me up, Scotty. Let's go.
Yeah.
I always remember a joke like that, when the man was getting sentenced in the court, and the judge said, "You have been found guilty, and you shall be doing 10 years. Have you got any last words to say?" And he said, "Yes." So he picked out his mobile phone and he said, "Beam me up, Scotty." Yeah, man. Yeah. So I want to say thank you again for joining us on the Galaxy Morning Risings,
Mhm.
and we shall be back again on Thursday. Right?
Thursday. Yep.
Thursday we're
Thursday.
scheduled. Right?
Mhm.
Will our other sister Sandra be joining us on that Thursday?
In person, possibly not, but I'm just triple checking that.
Okay then. Are we doing this? We're doing the part 2 segment to that.
Yeah, that's something that we're speaking about to make that reality.
Yeah. So if you want to see the past shows or the past broadcasts of that, you can see them on YouTube or on Facebook on the Magnificent Radio Show. Right. The morning show are also live broadcasts as well on the Facebook and YouTube. So you can go on to there and you can see the program live, watch them live and everything. But we're always encouraging you to come and join us on the platform. It is your show, it's a community show, right? As we're doing, we're talking about the issues, the articles that have touched us personally, right? And it's not a case of bring the negativity or the negative attitude. If there's any community, well, come and share it with us. Know that we are in the listening right across the board. We're everywhere, right around the world in the listening. Okay, so thank you once again, Sandra, for joining us this morning.
Thank you for the invitation, Brother Aston, and listeners.
Come on,
thank you.
Could you repeat that again, please? It blew out. Could you repeat that again?
Thank you, Brother Aston, for the invitation, and thank you to the listeners. And yeah, next time when we're sitting together on the morning show, feel free just to, the number always is showing at the bottom. Feel free just to dial in and just have that conversation. What has grabbed you over the week? What do you want to share? And the rationale why? Yeah. Over the last 7 days, and the rationale why.
Right, until I got some
until
problems.
Thursday.
No, wait. I'm back here Wednesday.
All right, okay. Okay. I'll stop speaking for you, and I'll only speak for myself.
Yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday. But our lineup today, right? It's going to be the Griot show with hold on. What's happened here? That's not. Don't know why. But still, we're gonna have the. Hold on. Sorry, family. Hold on. I don't know why that's happened. Why did that happen? Something's. Actually, this thing can test you sometimes. This can test you. Right, we're going to have our lineup this morning. It's going to be Brother Kwame with the Griot show, and then Empress Adina. Right, then we got Dr. Abu. They are Cable and Revivalists. So we'll be on to this one as well. So we got Brother Kwame will be up to 10 a.m. Right? And then let's say I Empress Adina, and then Dr. Tata, and then the baby up today, right? So please stay tuned. Stay tuned. And if you wish, please take note of them. So let me just give out these numbers so that you can put them ready to. It's 0203-289-6504. And the text or WhatsApp, you can be on 079-47-479-219. And also visit the website. Visit the website and you can see all the other events that we're involved in. Do an reaction on those websites, and you can also listen to where we are, wherever you are, right? So you're listening to your devices on your computer. Download the app so that you can be mobile. Okay, so that's do that from the Play Store. And it's Galaxy AlphaWeed.net. Okay, download that the mobile. So where you are in the world, download that, and we are doing throughout the day. Drop messaging, points of discussion that you would like us to cover. So, because as you know, versatile.
Yes.
But you'll only hear the truth. You shall only hear the truth. Right? So, any last words?
No, I love the versatility. And if there are any comments or anybody wants us to look at anything, then yeah, put it in. Share that information with us. And I'll check it out from my end and you'll check it out from your end.
Exactly. Elia, so look good, walk good, and be good to everybody out there. Right? Until the next time.
Yes. Peace.
Precious Lord.